Hi everybody, this is CyberRev. I wanted to do a video on Ryan Henry. And no, I do not know him. I have never met him. I would like to know him and possibly one day meet him. I would actually send a tweet to him to encourage him to reach out to me and to have discussions and speak. The reason why I'm doing this video, for a strange reason, I spent at least 4 or 5 hours initially watching Black Ink Chicago videos, and I watched Black Ink videos across other states. And that is what led me to watching the talent and the skill, the artistic skill and talent of Ryan Henry. And I watched all the celebrities and people that he's done the tattoos on, and you know, I was so blown away and fascinated by the whole talent and artistic skills and the bravery to step out and do business in Chicago and set up shop, and then one thing led to another and to another, and to look at what he's been through in order to build a legacy for his sister that passed away sadly and brutally. It it led me to really think deeply, and I'm aware of other things that have occurred, but for someone who's like myself, who, and I want you to listen to this, because sometimes when we watch videos and we see VH1 and we see social media and we see Instagram and we see Facebook posts, it's almost as if humans are being desensitized, especially when you talk about black on black, or you talk about black and brown people, or you talk about empathy, or you talk about forgiveness, or you talk about love, or you talk about togetherness, or you talk about sin, or you talk about mistakes, or you talk about judgment. Sometimes when you watch channels on social media platforms, it's almost as if it's given a license for people to just talk, judge, and they really do not know what they're talking about or what they're really judging. Let me say this, and I'm speaking purely as CyberRev, purely as something that I'm trained to see, trained to understand, because I've probably walked through fire. I've walked that thin line of the mind and the brain. in life. I've also done things that most people will never see in their life. I'm talking heights. What I'm trying to get across here, and it should carry a warning label to anyone online or across social media platforms, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Be careful of who you judge, what you say, what you do. And I'm talking even celebrities. And here's a good example. Look at Tamar Braxton. Look at Tamar Braxton. And now, without people understanding it or foreseeing what they're doing, especially these reality TV show production companies, without me calling any names, they are about TV ratings. They are about getting people to watch of a particular ethnic category. And they don't care whether you fight against each other, bitch against each other, destroy each other, whether you're a family like the Braxton family or not. And someone say, what's that got to do with this video on Ryan Henry? I'm saying think. I'm saying do not judge. I'm saying regardless of what you think you've heard or anyone else has said, because there's different sides of what's going on from all directions, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be staff and co-workers. There's lots of different opinions, even in the family, even in my family. Be careful that you do not destroy a king. Just like the Egyptian Kemet Africa kings that they're now excavating. Nipsey Hussle. Who destroyed Nipsey Hussle? You can talk about violence. You can talk about advantages and disadvantages and sins and wrongs and mistakes. But who destroyed Nipsey Hussle? Think about it. This black on black, black on brown, real kings against kings. If you do your research and your history, do you see the ankh around his neck here? Do you know what that means? You see, a lot of you don't know what that means. Go research it. That's why I'm doing this video. That's why I'm using the terminology king. See this ankh right here? When you're walking a road with a dream, especially if you're black and brown, you've got a hard road to walk from day one. From day one. Because if you think of every single generation of your family, think of the road and journey and life of everyone in your family, of every generation that you can think of or know. And if you don't know, look at the history books. Go all the way back to Malcolm X. Who destroyed Malcolm X? There some people would say it's the government. But who actually put the fatal wounds to destroy Malcolm X? What about Marcus Garvey? What about W.E. Du Bois? I'm trying to show you something here. And when it comes to Ryan Henry, just like a basketball player, NFL player, even bishops and pastors, name me one person on earth that has not made a mistake, that has not sinned, that has not done wrong. We all have done wrong. We all have sinned and come short. I'm not saying anyone particular has even sinned or come short. I'm saying in general, this whole attitude of people judging people and getting involved in people's business online, you can push people like Tamar Braxton and other people like Bill Cosby over the edge. And I'm saying, look at the diamonds and the gold and the kings and the queens within a person. If you cannot look for the good and allow people to make mistakes, it takes two to tango, right? It still takes two. So why blame one? I'm hoping and I'm praying that nothing but empathy, love, empowerment, forgiveness, and I'm also saying to anyone, it's an open invitation that it's time for us to know thyself. That's why I've created the website. And a lot of work has gone into it and still going into it. Because I think, especially with the pandemic, the global pandemic, and even the situations in across America, especially online, in all sectors, industries, there's a lot that is not going to be normal. There's a lot that of pressure within communities across America, especially at this time, even global. Look at Nigeria. Look at Colombia. Look at Venezuela. We need to support those who have taken effort, leadership, like Ryan Henry, to take his business and employ other people, and his money and his faith. Do you know the responsibility to have other people, to employ other people? Then to have a TV reality show. Like I said, look at Tamar Braxton. Even look at other celebrities. Monique. Look at Monique. There's lots of other examples that we can look at and watch what they do to especially black and brown leaders. They literally destroy them ultimately. The reason why I did this video, because I looked at the timeline. I'm talking about timelines on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. And anything that's negative has no value. It doesn't produce anything. That's why we need to change the narratives of that's been written in history, and that's been written on most social media platforms even today when it comes to black and brown people especially. These narratives need to change. That's why there's uproar in Nigeria. And these narratives seem to be coming or trying to attack Ryan Henry when we need to uplift Ryan Henry, because he's a leader, he's a king. He's producing and employing people, or at least has the mentality and the dream and the ambition to do that, and he's put it into action. We have to understand that people make mistakes. Look at the mistakes Mike Tyson made. Okay? But yet, look at Mike Tyson now. And Mike Tyson has overcome every type of assault, accusation, judgment, even to the point coming from a black and brown woman, where he was sentenced to jail and imprisoned. Time to change the narratives. Time to change the way, especially black women and brown women deal with black men and brown men. Time to change the narratives. If we really want our children to be kings and queens, treat them like kings and queens, not by a word, not by some title you do not understand. Know thyself, know thy history. And you can learn this from Ryan Henry. You see this chain that he's got on? You see this emblem here? Go read about it. Go research and study it. And that's why I've created the website. If you don't know where to look. Because we need to change the way we deal with each other, man to man, man to woman, worldwide. This video is very difficult for me because I don't actually know Ryan Henry, but because I watched the videos, I've never watched like 10 videos straight of anybody. I really haven't. I normally do a lot of different searching, but to do 10 videos of one person, and that's why it's now 1 o'clock in the morning, my time. And I had to do this because there's different reasons for why I'm doing this. But let me just say why I'm doing it. Briefly. He stated certain things. He's coming from experiencing a lot of things. I think most people who come from Chicago would have, just Chicago itself, you're going to experience a lot of things. And I think if people look at these things, understand the journey, understand the trials and tribulations, understand that he's overcome all these things to still create a business, a legacy, all the way to Hollywood or Vegas. Well, Hollywood and Vegas and VH1. Come on now. Mistakes along the way. Upsetting family. Upsetting friends and best friends. What a lot of people do not understand. And this is why I'm making this video. When you climb the mountain of life, and especially when, in order to get to that top, the pinnacle, you can't carry everyone to the top. It's impossible for everyone to climb that mountain with you to get to the pinnacle or the top. You may just get one person that you can pull up with you. And in most cases, you're not going to even probably have one person. I'm saying, be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Just be careful. Don't put pressure on people and judge people when you have not walked in their shoes. When you have not done or seen or been through what they've been through. And we all go through different things in this journey of life, regardless of where you live. And in closing, let me just say something to all the gangs. I don't care if it's Bloods, Crips, all the gangs of across the whole entire United States of America. There's gangs everywhere, man. Every time you watch videos on YouTube about gangs, Bloods, Crips, and even Whack 100. And yeah, Whack 100, man. Whack 100, I'd like to speak with you, man. Try and see if you can, you know, follow Cyber Rev on Twitter. Let's talk, man. Because the influence that you have doesn't match the energy that you should have. It's, you know, to me, let me just say this. Gangs, imagine if all the gangs, Whack 100, if all the gangs in the United States of America got angry about the killings of innocent black and brown people, just that alone, and they would make sure across the United States of America that they would make sure that everything has justice or protection. Yeah? Just like you have the militia movements for Trump, right? Just think of that, Whack 100. Does that make sense? What about all the gangs across the United States of America protecting the schools where the children attend? Instead of shooting it up, protect it. Would that make sense? So, that's why I say we need to change the way we communicate. When people talk about code, gang code, street code, where was the street code for Nipsey Hussle? And I know how you feel about that Whack 100 when it comes to Nipsey. But that, my friend, even though you're going to say I'm not your friend, what you don't understand about Nipsey Hussle is a king. Nipsey Hussle comes from the root and the DNA of African royal kings and queens. That's what you don't understand. And I want to talk to you about that because Whack 100, you also come from Africa, but you don't understand it. And I want to talk to you about that. And that's why I'm saying, look at this emblem here. Ryan Henry comes from royal DNA kings and queens. And he knows it. And I want to speak with him also so we can get down into real understanding and brotherhood and sisterhood. The knowledge that I'm seeing on these social media platforms don't make sense. This rap, hip-hop stuff, and that's Whack 100 again. The narratives, look at the narratives. Look at the words, look at the destruction, look at the genocide that's coming out of the mouths of rappers and rap and hip hop generally. Look how it's turning women into twerking, and I've done videos on this. On you've basically trained them to be what you see them doing. Whack 100. You think the creator doesn't see that? And the creator that I'm talking about is probably not the creator that you think I'm talking about. Because the only creator of this universe, the Garden of Eden, is Afraka. Afro Raka. Go do the research. It's not Africa. It's Afro Raka. The only creator is Ra. That's another video. And I've done videos on that. I'm just saying, be careful. Be careful. Don't go with the narratives of reality TV. Don't go with the narratives of bitchiness. Don't go with the narratives of Me Too. Don't go with the narratives of so-called independent women when, unless you own your own grocery store and petrol or gas station, how are you independent? That's not reality. Don't go with the narratives of the Democrats or the narratives of Republicans. Don't go with narratives of hip hop and rap in general. Don't go with the narratives of gangs, because the Crips and the Bloods or any other gang, Hell's Angels, trade gang, whatever gang you want to call it. Even going to religions and denominations are gangs. The Catholic Church is the biggest gang. The Vatican is the biggest gang. Okay? Governments are gangs. And governments have taken out any leader for the last amount of centuries, going all the way back to Afro Raka. That's why they changed it from Afro Raka to Africa. They changed it from Kemet to Egypt. There's reasons for this. It's all about the narratives and changing the narratives. Then they've created slavery. Then they give you to worship a white Jesus on a donkey. Why don't they go and dig up the white Jesus and his donkey? Where's his donkey? Where's his utensils? And I know I'm mixing a whole bunch of different things into this, and you're saying, what's this got to do with Ryan Henry? What it's got to do with Ryan Henry? Don't destroy Ryan Henry. Lift him up and empower him, because he is a king and a leader in action. That's my point. That's what we should have done with Nipsey Hussle. As a king and a leader. If you're on YouTube, please leave your comments. Please like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Know thyself. Thank you for listening.